ViTA-SSD is a tool for exploration and finding of patterns on semi-structured documents. In this video, we will showcase how we can influence the clustering results by providing keywords to the system. Here we have 1300 documents from the ASRS report sets. The documents are grouped in 6 different clusters. When we look at the cluster keywords, we see that they aggregate related documents, but they can be rather general too. For example, we can say that cluster 4 seems to group conversations with the controller as the aircraft approaches the runway. Cluster 1 seems to contain incidents on engine and landing problems, and cluster 2 also describes problem during approach, where wake and turbulence are minor keywords in this cluster. Let's say that we want to have a cluster about wake turbulence incidents, and also we want to keep all other clusters for further investigation. For illustration purposes, we search using the term wake. This shows that around 3/4 of the documents are assigned to cluster 2, but we can also note some documents scattered around. For example, this document is a wake turbulence incident that happened to a paraglider. Other documents mention fuel problems, and wake is just mentioned at the end of the report. And in the case of cluster 3, wake is mentioned in the context of fatigue issues and sleep deprivation. This is the problem of relying completely on search, which could retrieve documents where the query term has a different context or meaning. Although the two-dimensional representation is a useful aid to identify different contexts visually, the question is how we can influence our clustering with keywords taking care of not introducing unrelated documents. Let's select all our documents again and suggest wake as one of the keywords to take into account. We see that cluster 2 has shrunk around the documents on wake turbulence, and now the keywords are encountered, wake, turbulence, among other keywords. When we increase the influence factor, this leads to a smaller or more selective cluster, but also incorporating some documents that are a bit farther from the group. Only when the influence is increased to the maximum, this will be similar to having the cluster with only documents containing the word wake. Let's see how this works when multiple keywords are entered. Let's suppose that now we want to have another cluster related to bird strikes. Let's reduce the influence a little bit. We see that now cluster 6 has got smaller and has the word bird as one of its keywords, and other words such as vibration and damage, although engine is the most important keyword. We can increase the influence a bit more so that cluster 6 get more selective to bird strike incidents. We can confirm this by looking at the documents in cluster 6 with the word bird in context. Now we can use the metadata analysis panel to find patterns on clusters that were influenced by the user. For example, we can see that bird strikes seem to be highly correlated with the takeoff phase. Similarly, we see that wake turbulences are correlated to low altitude phases. Let's take a look at the airports where these incidents happen. Although for anonymity reasons most documents don't contain the airport in the metadata, it looks that busy airports such as JFK, LAX, and Atlanta seem to be prone to wake turbulence encounters. Thanks for watching this video.